Hi, I'm Elisa Zhang, and I'm a physician as well as a life and money coach. Do you ever feel like Syphilis? He's that figure from Greek mythology. He was the king of Corinth, but became infamous for his trickery and he cheated death twice. So ultimately, he got a punishment where he had to keep pushing up a boulder, up a mountain. And then once he got like nearly to the top, it would roll all the way back down. He had to push it up again. And this was his internal punishment. Do you ever feel like that where you're just constantly pushing a boulder up? You're constantly on that treadmill, like working hard, and then the boulder falls down and you have to start over. Well, let me tell you, that's how I've been feeling these last a couple of days, or at least the last week. So I recently just purchased my own home. And, moving can be one of the most stressful things that we do. So I've been moving in for the last week, or I guess it's been a week since the movers actually brought the furniture. We started moving in a little less than 2 weeks ago. And, I have to admit there's progress. The boulder doesn't go all the way back down. But as with any new property, once you're in it, you find that are things that, you knew that had to be taken care of from your general inspection, but that general inspection doesn't cover everything, right? It's probably 2-3 hours, or maybe you have someone really thorough and it's 4 or 5, even 6 hours of time in the property. But once you're in it day to day, there are just things where you're like, oh, this is another thing that I gotta figure out. So that's that feeling of like pushing the boulder from the mountain and having it come down, like working on something or starting to try to fix something and then finding a new problem. So just feeling like I am at ground zero again. Uh, and maybe you feel this way, like if you're a physician clinic, like every day you're just going in and you've got, 20, 30, 40 patients on your schedule, and it just feels like you go home, you finish up your notes, and the next day it's the same thing. But really what I want to uh, tell you is there is progress. Even when it feels like you're pushing that rock to the top of the mountain and it's just rolling back on you, you're not all the way back to ground zero. If you have, quote, failure, it's really that you learn what doesn't work. And now you're not going to do that. Now you're going to find something that does work. And the progress just may seem slower than you want it to be, but ask yourself, what's the rush? If this gets done in a week instead of today, is that a problem? If it is a problem, why is it a problem? And how can we problem solve that problem? If you're happy to get whatever done and everything's worked out, in a month, as opposed to 2 weeks, like what is the real issue for it just taking more time? Ask yourself, why are you in a rush? So that's what I'm asking in terms of, being in my house all moved in. Why am I in a rush to feel like I'm, quote, settled? And it's because I want to feel settled, right? But I could, quote, feel settled now, just knowing like, look, everything is in the house. I can find it. It just may take more time. And I have time, right? We all have the same amount of time. And yes, we have a lot of things to do in the time, but our perception of time is really changed by how we're thinking about our time. When we're feeling like we have a lack of time, when we're really rushed, then that time scarcity comes in, and that's where we're at. If we feel like, look, we have time, just take the time to do what we need to do, then the time actually can fly by a little bit more, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you end up taking more time. So that's kind of this time paradox, is that the time, quote, keeps ticking, but our perception of time can really be very fast or really slow, depending on how we're thinking about the situation at hand and what we're thinking about time and what we have to do and what we have to get done. So if you're feeling rushed, if you're feeling like you don't have progress, why don't you just breathe, relax, and just be like, okay, I have the time to do everything I need to do. Everything will get done eventually. There's no rush. If there is a deadline, just I can meet this deadline. Or what's the deadline really for? What's the purpose of the deadline? Is it even really necessary to have that deadline? Could it be, turned in a day later? In some cases not. Some cases, there are other people waiting on you, and maybe you don't want to make them wait, but explore those thoughts, explore those feelings. Why are you feeling rushed? Is it because you don't want to make other people wait? Well, explore that. What about other people waiting is making you feel rushed? Is it so that they can do their part and they're not doing anything now? Is it possible they could work on something even without your part? Is it possible that they have a whole bunch of work that they don't mind that they get whatever they need from you later? If everything can get done at a later time frame, but it still gets done, is it still worthwhile? If it is, you just keep moving forward. And the feeling of rush usually makes us actually end up doing some mistakes by being rushed. If we can just stop and be like, I have the time to take care of it, often the time will go faster and you'll actually be able to get more done than you realize. So that's my video for you today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to work with me on meeting your goals, not feeling so rushed, being in a calmer place when you've got big projects, those are all things that we can coach on. I'd be happy to talk to you about coaching with me. I am taking a select number of one-on-one clients for coaching. You can find all that information at my website, growyourwealthymindset.com. And I'd love to talk to you. If you enjoy these videos, please just go ahead and hit subscribe so I can bring you this content every week. Thank you.